decides to give him a name.
Oh, I love this. Zombie McBiteface.
And now he's got a nice name. So it adds that.
It's adding
bit.
that sarcasm.
Exactly.
Coded in sarcasm into the game.
Yeah,
I love it.
Automated sarcasm. That's the best way forward, guys. But yeah, one of the things which I did want to have in the game, I did want to put hints in there, and I'm going to have an option in the game to turn them off altogether. But I don't.
That's better than all AAA games released this year.
Amen.
Last year.
Amen. And I kind of want to like have this moment of where players can have the opportunity to figure it out for themselves. That's what I want to do. And even the hints that you get, they're not going to be spoiler territory. It's not going to like go over there and do this. It's going to be a hint. It's going to be an actual hint. Where are my scan lines?
Off.
I want my scan lines, yo.
The scan lines are there. You just can't see it because of compression on the video.
Okay.
Shit.
You're doing it in a really smart way, and I'm really glad to see that you haven't made any levels yet, for example. I think that is a really good way of going because you're just focusing on like the core mechanic.
And the idea is that it's got weight to it, and so because this is a physics-based controller, every orb that I get in contact with, it slows down, and now the wand still has resistance against the egg, so it still doesn't want to just naturally go inside the egg, so you've got to kind of spin round,
Got to joust it.
kind of joust it and then pierce it that way.
Pull the trigger on Crisis Island.
That better be in the trailer. Hi everyone, welcome to the Solo Dev Roundtable, aka the Polygon Forest, our little side project that we got going on. It has been a hot minute. It's been a while, like since we've done this. I think, Sam, you said it was September, right?
September the 8th.
Damn.
According to our last recording. Yeah.
Long time. But anyway,
Shame on us.
I am solo developer Vin Hill, as always, like joined by Christopher Jarvis.
Hello.
And also, we're joined, as always, as well on this wonderful podcast. We got Sam Webster.
Hey there.
So yeah, it has been a while. We've been working on our games in different volumes to each other. As you'll see, there's been a lot of work done by some of us, and then also not enough done by others. But that's the whole point of this podcast. If you are new to this, then basically what we do here is we talk about our indie games that we're working on. Because we're all solo devs, we kind of get lost in the vacuum every now and then, and this sort of show is designed to keep us accountable, but also to keep us motivated. So we've always got something to show next week, but also, well, not next week, but the next month. But it also allows us to be able to sort of bounce ideas off each other and just talk about indie games development in general. So if you are interested in any of that, then please like and subscribe, leave comments. If you're working on an indie game as well, like we would love to hear about it. Eventually, we are going to probably branch out and start getting more and more people onto the show, hopefully. But yeah, for now, it's just the three of us, which is good for me. But yeah, I think we should jump right in. It has been a while, guys, so is there anything that you want to talk about before we dive into each other's projects? It's okay, but to know.
I want to dive in.
You ready to dive, straight into projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get cooking.
Yeah, so I've been really, really busy. Like, I know it's a really bad, like, sort of outdated excuse, but it is very, very true. I've been aggressively busy, and it will be a story that we'll tell one day because it actually does pertain quite well to this podcast. But for now, like, I have to remain shrouded in mystery. Like, Chris and Sam know about what's going on, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I've done a little bit of work on the game, that's for sure. A lot of it is code based, so it's going to look the exact same. I apologize to the people that are sort of excited to see like visual changes. Like, it was sort of my plan at the end of last year was to say, okay, now that I'm sort of quote unquote finished with the main core base of the code, like I can finally move off into actually making the game look pretty. But that sort of got suspended because I realized there was a whole other feature which I totally forgot about, which is the dialogue system for the game. In the game, I do have a main character that isn't so silent. Like, he does actually have some things to say. I'll try and full screen this actually, so it's a bit.
Zombie McBiteface.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here.
Right. So before, it was like the silent protagonist and all that sort of stuff, and stuff would happen. There was some things that, like, hints at the bottom of the screen for what items were and stuff. As you can see, that's been removed, and that's because of the whole new dialogue system which I've got. So it isn't just so simple as like you click on a thing and he says some words. It's actually based on if he's inspecting something, if he's talking to something, if it's a hint, if it's him picking something up, if he's failed at something. Like there's different variations for what he can say at different points. So a good example of this is the inspect button. So when you inspect an object, which you don't have to do, like you don't have to inspect anything if you don't want. It's very much like a side thing if players are interested. But at the moment, as you can see, like there's no sort of text on the screen. I really like this look. Like I really want to keep the game as clean as possible in terms of UI. Like the only thing that's actually on the screen at any one time now are the dots, which I kind of like because it's akin to some of my favorite games like Eco and Out of This World and things like that. Those are the sorts of games which I'm sort of trying to sort of follow as well.
Yeah.
But if you inspect something,
more immersive, leaning into the immersive.
Yeah, exactly. If you inspect something now, he has a line of dialogue which now goes above his head.
Blank, blank, blank.
Exactly. It's just test dialogue.
It's a blank.
But now that he's inspected it, if you then get near it again, then it's got the sort of doorboards thing at the bottom. So things only show up after you've inspected them. So this sort of extends out. So old zombie over here, like if I inspect him, he decides to give him a name.
Oh, I love this. Zombie McBiteface.
And now he's got a nice name, which is great.
And now he's got the name.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brilliant.
So that's the first thing, which
and
I
do you
had.
name things throughout the game as well?
Yeah, so what I've done, every item in the game already has a base name anyway, like every item. So if I don't have like customized dialogue, which every item can have custom dialogue for an inspection, but if I don't, then I've set up a system where it says, okay, what's the name of the object? And then it applies a looks like a in string, and then it adds like the item's name at the end. So I don't have to make a custom inspection thing for everything, but if I do, then it has it. So this is an example of looks like a potato peeler. I didn't write that. It's just the system's creating that based off the thing's name. And then
based on your labeling that you've got,
exactly,
the name of the object and stuff. So it's referencing the name of the object. Ah, very clever.
Exactly. So I've added this. I've added something more to this as well. If you inspect it a second time, then I don't want it to just repeat the same thing. So I've added another string, which is still looks like a, and then you add the item name on the end. So it adds that.
It's adding that sarcasm.
Exactly.
It's in sarcasm into the game.
Yeah,
I love it.
Automated sarcasm. That's the best way forward, guys. But yeah, so there's a lot of that, and it's same with Zombie McBiteface. Yep, still looks like a Zombie McBiteface. I still need to like figure out the different cases for like the pluralization of certain words, which I've got it for most things set up, but for things like it looks like a Zombie McBiteface instead of saying it still looks like Zombie McBiteface. So removing the A from that and stuff, I still need to figure that stuff out. But yeah, that's the.
I don't think it's a bug. I think it's a feature. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It still looks like a zombie with McBiteface.
It does.
That's funnier.
But yeah, so that's the inspection mode. So I added quite a bit onto that. I also made the character a little bit slower as well. So when he walks, he's not like zooming across the map like he was before. So it looks like he's actually a bit more purposeful in his walk and stuff.
And was that for utility? Was that because you wanted to just run around and test things quickly? So
I guess it
bumped
was,
up the
yeah.
speed of them, or...
And it wasn't until like someone mentioned it on TikTok, and I was like, "What? Like, it doesn't run that fast." And then I looked at it, and I was like, "Actually, he does kind of like slide across the floor." But now it actually feels like he's actually going at the pace that he's walking, which is great. So the next thing was the fail state stuff. If you fail at something, then he's got like a custom script for that as well. So Grunt, what do they do? Weld these things on? Like, so he hasn't been able to get through the floorboards, but it kicks this level of dialogue. And this was another sort of subsystem which I wanted to do, which was hints. Like me and Chris have had long discussions about how I hate hints in games and how they give them too early. Yep. One of the things which I did want to have in the game, I did want to put hints in there, and I'm going to have an option in the game to turn them off altogether. But I don't.
That's better than all AAA games released this year.
Amen.
Last year.
Amen. But one thing I did want to do is add a sort of an extra step to get to the hint. So like then it said, what did they do? Weld these things on. So I haven't given the player the hint. But if they go back and try and fail a second time, then it does the same text as it did before. But then afterwards, it adds the hint dialogue straight after it. So it's got it's got a bit of like an extra step to do to it, so it isn't automatically like telling the player what to do. They have to fail a couple of times before they get the hint. So I'm trying to add all these subsystems to sort of combat that, because I've been really
That's great.
I've been getting really annoyed by that in games recently. So
that is really clever. Like, you try something once and you have to try it twice before the hint kicks in.
Exactly.
That is really good.
Yeah.
That because that feels more immersive, because that feels more like how people's brains work. Whereas what's happening now is you're just meeting a threshold of a location. It's like, maybe you need to do this.
Exactly.
Or there's a countdown timer where it's like, you've been here for 5 minutes. I think you need a hint now. You need to move on.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been a lot of talk about Atreus opening his mouth and solving the puzzle before you've even looked around the room.
Yeah, and same for he's nowhere near as bad as Aloy, but yeah, it's getting pretty bad. Yeah. What was the other thing I did? So normal dialogue as well. If there's a character or a static object, something like Zombie McBiteface, you can talk to him. And I've also added.
Awesome.
I've also made it so you don't just talk to him once. I've actually got a branch of like 5 different dialogues that it randomizes between. So it isn't just you say one thing over and over again.
So everyone's playthroughs can be different as well.
A little bit.
Yes.
So it's.
So a streamer will play one thing. You look at the same streamer playing the same thing, and then it's going to play something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with
liking that.
With old zombie dude here, if I like try and talk to him, I've basically got like 5 jokes loaded in at the moment. That's the story I've got going. But like the sort of pun jokes. Dedicated. Good times. And he'll alternate between different, and there's a bunch of different jokes which you can put in, but it just goes it just goes through them as it goes.
It's replayed the first one. Is that because it just randomizes and it might play the second one again?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it can repeat them. Yeah.
Living room. Living room.
To get it, living room. Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm trying to think what other dialogue options there were. I can actually.
What I'm mainly taking from your update is you added dad jokes everywhere.
Hell yeah, dad jokes are the win, man.
And dad logic as well, because dads need time to figure stuff out, and you've compensated for that. So as a dad, I really appreciate that. You've had time to think about that.
Yeah. So
because there's one thing worse is when someone gives you the answer when you're not looking for it, and it's like, I was gonna do that by myself.
Yeah, and I kind of want to like have this moment of where players can have the opportunity to figure it out for themselves. That's what I want to do. And even the hints that you get, they're not going to be spoiler territory. It's not going to like go over there and do this. It's going to be a hint. It's going to be an actual hint. Like hints used to be. That'd be nice. Not, hey, maybe I should go and look in that trash can over there and find a hammer so I can maybe pry off these. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's stupid. Because it's like,
or like a mechanic. It's like, I think you need to use this mechanic right now. Like, I think this mechanic is the one I need to use. It's like, ugh,
gross, right? I just like be generic, like, oh, maybe I can pry it off with something. It's like, yeah, that is enough of a hint. It's like, okay, I need to find something that I can pry it off with. Like, where can I look? I'm not going to tell you where to find it. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah, dialogue systems. I've got item interaction. Like on over here, I've got hint dialogues, and these are all sort of quite. I've built out the system as well, so they're all set in arrays, and I can just add like more lines to it. And if it detects like there's nothing in here, then it automatically reverts to a default phrase, which is like, oh, it looks like a blah blah blah, or like, oh, I don't know, I've no idea what to do with this or whatever. So it's got a default state for all of this sort of stuff. And I can move these around, which is great.
Wow.
I can add like 25 different lines, and it'll just play one after the other. Another great thing is this is. Got like some really cool HTML styling ideas to it as well. So you can change the size, you can make it bold. So like the thing before where you saw, I should call him, and then Zombie McBiteface was super big. That's all done through code in the actual script. So I don't have to like play around with like UX stuff. Like it's all done through text. The only thing I have to add to all of this.
That's great.
The only thing I have to add to all of this is like audio sources and stuff. So, like, as they're playing the audio source, like, if they skip through and stuff like that, that's the next thing that I might want to do. Because I think I've landed on the idea that I do want to make the game, audio-based, and have some VO in there. That'd be great. But, yeah, other than that, it was not too much else has changed. I think I added a bag animation. I don't know if I showed that last time. Because it's been a hot minute.
Going into and out of the bag, yeah.
Yeah, I think I already showed that, right? Oh. So he's got a little animation now.
Yeah.
and he stands back up again.
But this is a classic. I haven't done anything. I feel guilty. I got nothing to show, and then we're getting there. It's like, so I made an entire dialogue system.
Yeah, but it's all
Not
like
just
boring
any old
code.
dialogue system. Like, better than most AAA games out there that have dynamic, like, comic book text elements that doesn't exist on any other game I know of. So you can have, like, little whispering small characters and, like, big, massive punchline, larger characters. You've made something that just doesn't exist in other media.
I'm sure
then.
it exists somewhere.
And it just happens to recognize HTML text formatting, you know.
I think that's actually kind of built
Sprinkles.
into. Yeah, it's kind of built into Unity anyway. But yeah, but I figured out how to use it. That's the important thing. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
impressive.
So the next step for me,
And that's
honestly,
what you've done in 5 months.
Exactly. Like, really not that great. But the next step,
That's a lot.
honestly, things are ramping down now in terms of like how busy I am, which is great. Like in terms of like the next month. So I do want to start making the game look prettier. Like that would be the next step, I hope, because I'm getting really
And you've been
tired.
talking about that for like 8 months.
I know, man. It's brutal. But the thing is, like, the whole opening section, which is going to be the demo for the game, all of that is pretty much done at this point. So I can just make that look pretty, and I really want to get a demo done in the next couple of months. That's sort of where I want to get to. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not trying to be too definitive about it at this point, because my original plan was to get a demo done by October, which just did not happen. Because stuff got really, really heavy on the side. So I don't want to put down a lock date on this yet, because it's just gonna get brutal for me. So yeah, that's the deal.
Okay, so I should maybe start sweating about now, because Finn said he had nothing and then had a lot, and has oversold potentially what I do or don't have. So, I kind of went back to basics to a degree. There are a couple of things I changed to spend a lot of time now to hopefully spend less time later on. You may remember that last time I was asking about, it'd be great if there was a way to share animations, to bring in a sprite sheet and reuse animators, so I don't have to set an animator up for every character. It turns out you can do that using something called a sprite library and a sprite resolver. So this at the top here is sort of like a global king animator that everything uses. So every playable character, every enemy, everything uses this one animator. And then when I'm setting people up, like if I go to this enemy here, if I go back to scene view, as you can see, they've got a sprite library, which is just all of their sprites inserted on this panel. I don't know why sometimes they appear and sometimes they disappear. I prefer when I get my previews. So all I have to do is import the sprite sheet and then assign each pose to something from that sprite sheet, and then the animator will pick up the rest and do that for me. So that's going to be great as I iterate on different colored enemies, different weapon types, different whatever, because they're all sharing the same layout. That should speed things up. I also went back and completely redid the player input. So beforehand I was doing that in hard code. I'm now using the Unity Input Manager, which has a few benefits. So one is that it automatically gives you different schemes and setups. So you can see here, this is a gamepad scheme. That will be the mouse and keyboard scheme. And then I can actually filter up here all control schemes, gamepad, mouse and keyboard. So the other thing that then moving to that system allows me to do, you might notice Claire is not on her own. I'm just going to grab a controller here, and this is going to cause me other headaches. Also, you may now be hearing audio. So I can actually do co-op.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just sees a player and it goes, right, okay, well there's input manager, so we can do co-op.
Nice.
The HUD works, so if I start shooting some bullets,
Cool.
which
Those
means
are
I made
massive
a
bullets.
reload animation, so I can reload guns. Oh,
Nice.
that shouldn't happen.
Oh,
It's tradition, man.
Oh,
Like,
well.
someone's got to break on stream. It's tradition.
I can shoot the enemies.
those enemies are very, very lackluster. Oh, that was amazing. He just disappeared.
And they, so if I get close, they will run away. But if I run away from them, they will chase. Now you can see the graphics switching. That's because I haven't set the sprite library up properly yet.
Got ya.
But they also change, because there's 2 players, they change their target based on the nearest player every 3 seconds. So he's like, "Oh, get back
Wow.
here!" What I need to get them doing now is strafing and shooting back at me. The other thing, that music is doing my own head in now. I'm going to have to volume balance that. But,
That's amazing.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's looking different.
Wow. That's looking really different.
yeah, this co-op is going to be a lot of consideration too, because, like, Anya, I had to add, like, a clamp script to her so that she can't be outside the camera bound. So if player 1's moving around, she just gets dragged and pushed by the screen edge. But then if player 1 dies, then that clamp is ineffective and she becomes the target of the main camera so that it can follow her around. And then I'm going to have to think, okay, how do they revive each other? What can they do? How can they interact? So just an added layer of complexity. I also figured out auto tiles. So you can probably see here I'm trying to figure out, like, where the screen bounds are by counting how many of these tiles appear. But yeah, auto tiles are and obviously the sound is in there now. So if I go to where have I put things? Tiles, and then auto tiles. So you can see it's sort of made an auto tile there. How can I get that to show properly? So that's just the sprite imported. This is the game object. So you sort of, like, grab each tile from your sprite sheet and you say, okay, this is how it interacts. So for this top corner, there would have to be a link here, here, and here.
Got ya.
And then what that allows you to do is, instead of having to paint one tile at a time,
You can
just
draw.
grab the dirt. Yeah.
Awesome.
Just spread it around. And, yeah. That's a fantastic little system. I was so happy when I found it.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting to see, like, Unity sort of adopting as much of, like, the tile systems from other, like, from other game engines like this, because
yeah, this used to be a paid add-on, and then I think they just bought them out because it was good.
they do that a lot. Like Tech Smash Pro, they did the same thing with those guys as well, which is great. Like, they're fantastic tools. So yeah, well played.
Absolutely. I'm also setting up these enemies to try and be as modular as possible. So on the enemy controller script, I've set things up like, okay, how long will it be before they make another decision? Actually, how far are they going to chase you for? How close do they want to get before they shoot? I need to add another one in. I want to call it Stormtrooper Aim, which will just throw off the angle. But yes, I'm trying to make it modular where I can.
Smart, man.
You can dial in
Yeah,
the Stormtrooper-ness. Have a Stormtrooper number.
You ever seen that meme?
That's very
of,
cool,
like,
because then
the,
you can change the enemies on the...
You ever seen the Stormtrooper meme of, like, the alarm clock? It's, like, got a target on it, and it's like you have to shoot it with a laser gun or something, like, to turn it off. And it's like underneath it is a picture of a Stormtrooper with his head in his hands, like, I haven't slept in months. It's great.
Nice.
Good times. Sorry, anyway, I digress.
No, that's cool. So I did all of that. I added, you probably saw the, like, CRT like filter. I've set that as a separate thing.
Where are my
that can be
scan
turned
lines?
Off.
I want my scan lines, yo.
The scan lines are there. You just can't see it because of compression on the video.
Okay.
Shit.
I'll let you off then.
But if I open this up, literally scan lines,
All right.
and you've got options for horizontal and vertical. So
Good man.
the other thing that's kind of put a rocket up my arse, in September I said I'd asked the organisers of One Life Left if they were running a 2023 show, and if so, could I get a stall or exhibit? And they said, oh, the 2022 show, thank you for the kind words, but 2022 was like a one and done, we're not necessarily planning another one. In December I got another email from them. April 2023, we're going to do it. And there's free exhibiting space for indie games. Send us across this information for an application form. And they got back to me just a couple of days ago saying, you're in. We need a playable demo by the 1st of April.
Nice.
So I have a hard deadline for a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I got contacted by like a UK thing not too long ago. I can't remember the name of them. Like, it's one of the conventions as well. I think it's called Logic or something like that.
I've had an email.
Format, sorry, that was it. Format convention in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
They offered me a spot at some point, and I was like, yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to make a demo. So I'm just
this is the only thing.
Yeah.
I've got loose. Can't have any hard deadlines with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's good to have that as a motivator, though, right, Sam? Because if you're sort of pushing through, because like the amount of stuff that I can see that's come along here, you're doing it in a really smart way, and I'm really glad to see that you haven't made any levels yet. For example, I think that is a really good way of going, because you're just focusing on like the core mechanics and stuff and figuring out the modularity, so you can expand upon that once you do start getting full levels in. But I know you probably need one now because of like the demo. Right?
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing.
I need level 1.
Right, or A level.
I need level 1.
Yeah. A level, for a demo. But it looks really, really cool. What I'm thinking, is jumping into my mind, is like, I've never seen like an open world type game, but this kind of mechanics that you've typed in and the way that you've done the enemies, is it kind of lends itself to more of an open world where you like stumble across, or almost like Pokemon-esque, where you stumble across enemies and then you've got to find your way around a map sort of thing, rather than the mechanics you've added lends itself to an open world sort of format. Have you thought about that for level design?
So the thought crossed my mind, and then it was immediately followed by a 2-word sentence.
I
Scope creep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're basically at that point, what you're doing is basically making Halo Infinite, which is a tough pill to swallow. Like, as a solo dev, like making an open world game as a solo dev, like, good luck with that one. But
tricky.
just
tricky. Yeah. Or maybe just have an open, like, just like barrels here, some things here, find where the waypoint is, and then like have massive tiles, and then just go crazy with, dotting enemies around, and then you stumble across either items, enemies, and things.
So this is partly my own preferences coming into play as well,
right.
But I rarely enjoy open world games as much as I enjoy handcrafted linear games. Like, if you look at the Arkham series, people say that gets better as it goes on. For me, Arkham Asylum is the best one, because they knew within reason, okay, you have to go here next, and there's maybe 2 routes you can take, and we can set up interesting encounters on the way. And that kept me much more engaged, whereas someone drops me in an open world and says, it's that choice paralysis. If someone asks you, what do you want for dinner tonight? You can have pizza or a cheeseburger. It's very easy to make that decision.
Yeah.
Someone says to you, oh yeah, kitchen's open, we can make anything. I don't know what I want.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
so
anyway, like, because you're not only your preferences, but like the type of game that you're making, it is very much akin to Mega Drive games for the most part, right? Like, and they're usually level based. They're usually like they change style, like level to level. Well, not level to level, but zone to zone at least. So it's like 3 levels in a zone or whatever. I'm guessing that's the sort of thing that you're looking at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One, I'm using the Mega Drive color palette for all of the graphics.
There you go.
Just because. But also, 2, I do... Like, you look at, say, Tomb Raider 1 on Saturn, and you're like, okay, I'm going from, the Peru to Greece to Egypt to Atlantis. Spoilers. For a 30-year-old game. But then you get to, like, Tomb Raider, the reboot one, and it's like, you are on the island of Yamatai. Cool. Where else do I get to check out? The island of Yamatai.
Yeah.
So, oh, all right then. And yeah, just sort of not. Sorry to completely shoot down your suggestion, Chris. I feel
No. Your answer is well thought out, and so you've totally thought about that. And that's kind of what I was trying to get to. Like, what were your thoughts on that? So yeah. No, it's good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's
Get some
looking
exploding
great.
barrels there. Did you figure out the issue where you're going behind barrels and like behind things?
Oh, yes. So to the last build, I added the Y sorting layer global script. I just need to bring that into this build because when I started moving to the new player inputs, so much of the old was conflicting. I was like, nah, it's just clean slate. I'll re-import the assets. It was much easier than the animation system, too. That was easier with a clean slate rather than untangling everything I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And so what's next for you?
A demo of a complete level before the
Demo
1st of
complete
April. It's
So
has to be.
Is there any more mechanics you need to get in first, or are you now at the stage where you're happy with everything and just building out a demo?
I want two things. I want enemies to... So I've got them that they run away if I'm too close. I've got them that they chase me if I'm too far. That middle spot, though, at the moment, they just stand still. So I've got it in, it's commented out at the moment, but a random dice roll of actions they could take. It's like shoot, strafe, for the first basic enemies, idle like an idiot. And then those functions will trigger. But, and this will come to something I was saying to Vinny before we were live, I made the mistake of asking in a Unity Discord, hey, how do I get movement that's like this circle strafing? So I've got my transform for my anchor point. I just want them to, walk around in a bit of a circle if the dice roll lands on that. And instead of answering the question I asked, they instead said, bro, why are you using so many if statements? You need to be using switches. Here's a video tutorial on how switches work. I was like, okay, thanks. So after I've converted it to switches, just sort of like neatly sidestep that for a moment, how do I get this sort of circular motion? And they replied saying, oh, well, with the code you've got, you already know that. I thought, if I knew that, I wouldn't be asking.
Forums.
No, I mean, it's like you gotta love programmers. God bless them. But Jesus, like whenever you ask them a question, they're always like, well,
they never answer the direct question.
They don't. They
thinking
answer
of
with a
something
question.
else.
Like normally, they say, well, what's the code that you've got? And then you show them the code. And like, well, I don't know why you did it that way. I would have done it this way. Like they answer things like that instead of just saying, oh yeah, I know what you've done. Like you need to like tackle X, Y, and Z to clean up your code a little better to make it a bit more efficient. Then you could try this, but for the most part, you're fine. Like that's the right answer.
Like
guys.
I appreciate switches will work better for what I'm doing, and it'll have less overhead and this, that, the other. Okay, great. Thanks for the heads up. Not what I asked.
Right. Like, let's compartmentalize
So-
Yeah. It happens a lot, and it's that like I've had a good sort of laugh and a joke with programmers because like I'm absolutely guilty of doing that. It's like you all do it. Like it's hilarious. Like don't. And like artists have the opposite problem as well because instead of like giving them actual tangible advice, like we'll say stuff like, "Oh, you just need to practice." Like I'll just do some master studies or something. It's the same thing. Like we have opposite problems, but yeah, they
just think about where the light is coming from.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. Well, I know. Yeah, but how do I paint the light? Well, you just got to practice. All right, cool. Thanks for the advice.
Just think about where it comes from.
Yeah.
So look at the values. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Practice your values.
Have you tried looking at it in grayscale? Yeah, it still looks shit in grayscale, mate. Come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, no. Like other than that, though, Sam, like it looks great. Like you definitely come leaps and bounds ahead. I'm really excited to see like when the demo comes along, especially because I guess the next step is making a level for it and sort of I guess the next step is making the enemies sort of reacting properly and giving them good AI, right? And then you're going to start looking at making.
Yeah, I want to be happy with the enemies, and then once I'm happy with the enemies, I think I can easily make a couple of variants on those enemies, get that into a level, and like this convention, I'll be booking the time off work tomorrow to attend it. I've booked my travel. I've arranged where I'm staying, so the convention's happening. They've put me on the list.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I have to see if I can make that. When is it? April?
It is April 15th and 16th. It is OLL 23, and it is at the Norfolk Showground in Norwich.
Perfect. I'll see if I can swing by.
And embarrass me by breaking the game on the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like floating bullets, right? That's the best way forward.
Yeah, just bullets suspended in air and not going anywhere. It's beautiful.
So good. All right, cool. So next up is Chris. If you want to start sharing the screen, you already are. Sweet. Take it away, sir. What have you got for us?
So, my game, I've actually have been doing some work on it. I've been focusing on getting a lot of the levels done. Focusing. So this is kind of level design and mechanics that we're working on. And there's 3 sort of new mechanics that I don't think I've shown you guys. So I can demo these. So this is, I think, this is reaching out. So this is a new mechanic. Oh, here's a light bar. What could this light bar mean? And there's a key. And there's some 4 little enemies. So I get the key.
Just lost a ball.
And, oh no, they kill me. So they're homing ones.
Oh, okay. So they chase you.
So they chase me. So I'll have to run away. So I'll run away. And then, oh look, they disappear. They get killed by the light. I need to tweak that because the trail deactivates. Because at the minute I'm just destroying the objects. But what I need to do is deactivate the... I need to do a little timer where I deactivate the sprite, deactivate the collider, and then after a couple of seconds, then delete the object. So, but at the minute it's working in principle. And then that's how I get through that puzzle. Fade out scripts, what, it fades out would fade out like the trail sort of thing. Oh, cool. Yeah, that might be helpful. Yeah. That'd be good. So this is like a new door method, basically. So it's just like a new way that the door behaves, I guess. So that's that, and I've done a few levels of that. And then let's do hostility. The backgrounds I haven't changed, so I'm just using stock, like reusing backgrounds, and I've not changed the visuals of the...
Well, you're just figuring out the mechanics still.
I'm just figuring out mechanics, yeah. So these are like, I got the idea about pollen, like sticking to you. So these activate a what sort of joint is it? If we have a look at the green sticky.
An elbow? I don't know.
It's a wheel joint 2D that activates when you collide on it.
Cool. Yeah, that's English.
There we go. So there's a wheel joint. So it can spin around, and that helps when you're an orb. And the idea is that it's got weight to it. And so because this is a physics-based controller, every orb that I get in contact with, it slows down. And so it feels like you're running through like tar.
So it weighs you down. Literally.
It weighs you down. So you're going a lot slower. And the time to turn around also is really... because it's physics-based and it's using weight, it's a lot slower. And I even changed the color when they get killed as well. So there's some, so the spores or the pollen. So now it's more difficult to go around these enemies, which were just like animating. And they can, if I get close enough, I can. There we go. So they can get killed. So I can speed up with the less pollen. And so that's another way of using the mechanic. Hostility. Oh, okay. This is hostility. Okay, so that's that mechanic, that's that done. And then the third one, I'll show reflection. And this uses and this is again another mechanic that I worked on later on. Got to get through here first. This is towards the end of the game, so it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, don't die. No pressure.
Don't die. Yeah, I've got to play my own game. And then, look, you can see the key is here, but I can't get to it. And I love how the animation actually pushes you away as well. So you can get into it a little bit, but it's basically a force that keeps you out.
Yeah.
So I need to go and find something that's going to help me crack this egg open, or at least inseminate something. So here is a wand, and I've come up with this. I think it's quite clever. It's a really clever way so that when you attach the 2D wheel joint to the player, you're getting at it at the right angle, because if you came across this at the wrong angle, the stick is too short. And so I created these set of circles in this certain format so that you could only stumble upon it from the outside. And so now I can carry this stick around. So this stick has got a collider, so it won't go through the wall. So it makes me more clumsy, which again, so this is further along in the game. You're used to sort of playing how the game feels, and now it feels different. And now the wand still has resistance against the egg, so it still doesn't want to just naturally go inside the egg. So you've got to kind of spin round, kind of sort of joust it, and then pierce it that way, and then that activates the door. So that's another mechanic there, and it's a bit more clumsy. I don't know whether or not I need to work on the physics of the portal, because when you've got more things attached to you, like the wand or the spores, you've got more weight, and so you can get flung out. You don't get sucked into the vortex as much. Oh wait, I've got to get this one, haven't I? So there we go.
It's your game, Chris.
I know.
If you don't know, we're all screwed. You know?
I know. I've got to just focus a bit.
Oh god, that pun is never gonna die. Focus.
Yeah. So that's the sort of levels that I've been working on, and those are like the 3 mechanics that I've been working on. The reason why I've been focused. Oh no!
Yes, kill him, get him. Oh,
there we go.
So
the reason why I've been focused on that is because I've had some interest in a publisher, let's say, that might want to invest in the game, and so I've got to get everything that I've done sort of shown, and so that's why I've been focusing on getting the game in a "this is what I've done so far" state. Oh no, I'm stuck. There we go. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. There we go. Yeah, so hopefully by the next roundtable, I should have a decision on if that's being taken up, and so I might be, being able to spend more time on it, which would be very exciting. I can't wait to tell you guys
you're gonna
more
get sick of
about
this
it.
game. Working on a game
And I'm
full
going to get
time.
sick of it. I know.
You guys have no idea what it's like to work on a game full time. You're just like, yeah, an hour here, an hour there, you know.
Yeah, so the fact that in the few months, just in evenings and weekends, I've got a few more mechanics down, and I think I've only got a couple more mechanics that I want to do, which is I've got forces working on the vortex. I wanted to do that, tried and tested. Well, when you go through depression stage, I want there to be gravity added, and so you've got to kind of like pick yourself up to go up, and so it's a bit more difficult to go up. I want to sort of work with that. And then I was thinking more jets of force as well. So you've got the light, which acts like a laser beam, I guess, frying the enemies. I also want to have like a directional force with particles shooting out, and then you'll get caught in its stream and tumble around the map, as it were. And then I've got a big boss that I wanted to design as well, where it's an even bigger enemy that's chasing you and might crush things or explode things. But I'm waiting for the decision on if it's going to get picked up, in which case I'll be working with a team. And so it won't be up to me to make all the decisions. I'll have input that we can figure things out together with. So that could be fun. And so now it's just in a state where I'm just in a wait and see what happens phase. So yeah, there is no next step except wait. If it gets picked up, it's gonna be one set of things. If it doesn't get picked up, that's another set of things. If it doesn't get picked up, I'll just keep doing the same stuff. We'll see.
Well, what's the like either way? Like you going to carry on working on it, or are you just literally stopping on it for the time being?
Oh no, either way, either way, it's gonna get made. Okay. Because it's still either way it's gonna get made.
I meant over the next month, sort of thing. Like if you got any plans, like for the next month in particular.
I mean, it couldn't hurt.
That is an answer. Yeah, that is an answer.
It couldn't hurt, right? That's all I'll say on that.
Fair enough. It is an answer. I'll give you that.
Oh, do you know what I might do? I might go on Midjourney, and I might come up with some nice backgrounds to some of the levels to like give more of a theme and make it look prettier.
My
to
God,
give
Chris,
more
hire an
of
artist. Jesus, like God, is that how you're gonna get cancelled instantly?
Actually, that's a good point. I probably will get cancelled. Yeah. It would take away artist's job. It's like, I'm a single solo dev. There would never have been.
Yeah, I couldn't hire them anyway. It would have just been me, and it will look terrible. Yeah, that's not a good enough answer.
Yeah,
these days,
so this way it looks better than terrible.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, looks good.
I won't tell anyone I'm using. I won't tell anyone I'm using.
You've just said it on the stream.
Hey, look how good of an artist I am.
Okay, never mind. It's a good thing we're not putting this on YouTube or something. That's fair.
The audio went out.
It just sent a bar. Like over the top of his mouth.
So for those viewing, I owe you an apology. My Audacity dropped out, so you will have missed me commenting on Chris's game and congratulating him for his publisher and trust. But nothing of value was lost.
Hey man, you said it. But yeah, anyway, to sort of wrap this thing out, we've got another sort of 5-10 minutes left. Is there anything that you guys want to discuss, or are we gonna close off early?
So Vin, you keep getting the same old question on your Discord channel. When is Long Gone going to be released?
One day.
Do you think? Is that timescale changed?
Eventually.
Oh, it's long off.
Long off. I get that. That was good. Yeah.
Long off.
Yeah.
This year, next year, early next year.
I've no idea, honestly. Like I'm trying to avoid any hard dates like that because they're dangerous, because it sets too many expectations.
You start affecting your decisions.
Yeah,
as well.
I really want to get the demo done, because like that's the main thing. Like once I've got a demo done, I can put it online and people can actually play it, and then create a decision. Because I've mentioned this before to you guys, but the thing that I'm really conscious about when it comes to quote unquote my audience or whatever is the people that are interested in the game at the moment, like people on TikTok and stuff like that. Like the game's gotten like 3 million views on TikTok, which is bananas, right? Like that all is based off the visuals of the game and what they've seen. But a lot of people don't understand what the game actually is yet. Like I think a lot of people have the assumption, even though I've beaten it to death, like people think that it's a survival game. And like you're going in and you're just going through a level and you're trying to you're picking up health potions and stuff, or like you have to make a fire and stuff to warm up, and like that's what they think that the game is. That game's been made like 29 times. If you want to go and play that game, it's like go and look on Steam. Like you'll find 50 of those games. I'm not making that sort of game. So I really want to get the demo in people's hands so they can understand exactly what I'm going for. And hopefully if they connect with the humor of it and the sarcasm and like the sort of half sort of point and click adventure style of it, if they connect with that, and then I set up like a Kickstarter or something like that afterwards, or a Patreon page or something, then I know those people coming into that are fully aware of what the game is and they're excited for what the game is, versus me having to like deal with all these assumptions and all that sort of stuff. And then I can really start generating interest on the game, because right now everything has been quite organic. Like I've not really pushed the game that much. All I've done is set up like social media accounts and I've been posting stuff, not even regularly, but people have been getting interested in it, which is great. Like I really appreciate it, but I'm fully expecting a good 2/3 of them to peel away like as soon as they like understand what the game is, which is fine. Like I'm good with that. Like I'm good with, as long as people know what the game is and they're happy with what they're getting, like that's what I want to get to. Even if there's like 5 people left, I know, okay, these 5 people, they're my people. You know what I mean? Like I can get them excited and hyped for what I want to make. And if that means I lose like the 30,000 followers or whatever I've gotten from like the other platforms, I'm absolutely fine with that. But I prefer to build expectations, what people are asking for in terms of like, what is the game, when is it out, those sorts of questions. I'll be able to answer those a bit more truthfully once I've gotten the demo out and people have actually played it, and then I'll feel a bit more comfortable about sharing more information about it. Pretty much, like it's a roundabout way of saying it, but it's sort of the truth. I want to be.
But this is your tried and true, expect the worst, hope for the best sort of thinking.
I think. I mean, for all I know, like the opposite might happen, right? I might pull out the demo and people are like, "Whoa, this is like way better than I thought it was going to be." Like that's my hope. But like the reality of that is that it's not a survival game. This isn't really for me, so I'm just gonna unfollow and also cancel my wish list for the game. That's what I'm half expecting. Yeah. Which is fine, because the people that are going to be left over, they're going to be my people. They're going to be the base that I'm going to be solo appeasing. And those are the ones I want to cultivate and sort of, get them hyped about the game. So if I do set up a Patreon page, they can help support it and sort of put their input in. Because that has happened a couple of times. Like I've had people on the comments be like, "Oh, it kind of reminds me of Monkey Island. I hope it's kind of like that sort of game." And I'm like, "Yes, finally, someone knows what it is." And like getting super excited about that, just that one person in the middle of like the ocean of people that are just asking, "What's the game name? Like, is it a survival horror game, or reminds me of, add pixel art game here?" And it's just like, right, that's not helpful, sort of thing. But when you do get them people in the middle, that's the thing that motivates me. That's the thing that gets me excited. So the next step is really cultivating that. Yeah. That specifically.
Well, it is helpful. Those comments are helpful, but they're just telling you something that's forming your next step, right? And what you need to change. So it is helpful in that respect.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of you have to pass out a lot of stuff, right? Because unfortunately, like the most popular place at the moment, which I've got going on, is TikTok. And TikTok is predominantly like younger people, and they don't really understand like how games development works and stuff. And it's not really my job to educate them anyway. And the amount of questions I get, like asking what's the game name, and it's on the video, it's in the description, it's in the bio, and on the profile, and that's also. I've just started ignoring those people now. Like it's just blank to me.
Because do you think the payoff's going to happen? Do you think you replying to them is going to be like, "Oh, in that case, that's great. I'm going to search for that now"?
Yeah, but they're not.
All
they're going to do is carry on swiping because they're on TikTok. That's all they care about. But in the ocean of all of those game name question mark comments, like
I'm getting grey hairs just listening.
I know, man. It makes you feel so old. Anything about TikTok just makes you feel old, right? But in the middle of all of those, you do get the odd comment, which even if they're like sort of said in a nasty sense or anything like that, if they're trying to be like hurtful or anything like that, like they still have valuable sort of information in there. Like the guy that was like, it looks like he's sliding around, it looks dumb, like it doesn't look like he's naturally walking. And while I can get defensive about that and be like, "Oh, like screw you, dude, it's my game," and all that sort of stuff, like I could absolutely, and there's somewhere in my gut somewhere that does that automatically without saying it or typing it. I'm automatically like, "No, actually, you just don't understand." And then after like a couple of days, like you sit back and you think, "Is the character walking a bit too fast?" And then you go and look at it, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'll try and slow it down and see what it looks like." And then you slow it down, it's like, "All right, that actually does look a lot better," sort of thing. So you've got to be honest with yourself, and you've got to sort of take not all the feedback, but you got to learn how to parse it out, especially when you start getting attention like that. Because at the end of the day, like 30,000 followers on TikTok really does not translate to that many anyway. Because normally
it's interesting, it's unknown territory because TikTok's only been around for like 5 years, so we don't know that, because with Twitter, where there's like science and maths, like this many Twitter likes and this many Twitter follows and this many Twitter retweets converts this much wish list, converts this much money. We don't know how many million views of TikTok converts into how much money yet.
Yeah, the only thing I can really do on that front is look at the wish list that I've got, which at the moment I'm sat at about 10,000, which is kind of bananas. Like I was never expecting that.
Oh my god.
So I'm at 10,000. But even then, like you look at that number and you think, wow, 10,000, that's a lot, right? But 10,000 wish list converts to about, I think it converts to about 30%, 40%. So there's only about 4,000 people are going to actually play the game. out of that. That's how it sort of translates out. And then
But for your first game.
Sure, but out of those 40, so out of those 4,000 that are going to play the game, only about, it's something like 30% of those people buy the game full price. And then the rest of them will wait for a sale. Like, these are the stats.
Yeah.
So when you start whittling it down, you actually look, okay, 10,000 wish list, what does that actually convert to? And it's like, okay, that's about 1 month of mortgage altogether. It's like, that's not that much.
But if you, but it depends. If you sold the game for like £1 million each, then, you know.
Yeah, sure. That is an option, Chris, but no one's going to buy it. That's the problem.
Outside of the headline being the most expensive game on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, you might get those like billionaire bros online that are just like, yeah, sweet, I'll do that for the tweets. Yeah, but regardless, like, you got to look at it like that. But there are other factors, right? Like, if you've got 10,000 wish lists, then you get put in a different bucket for Steam. So when the game is released, you might get put on the main page, for example. So more people will be able to see it on the first day that's out, and all the people that didn't wish list it will see it versus the people that did wish list it. So if you're only looking at the people that wish list and stuff, like, that's sort of in a vacuum anyway, because more people are going to buy it anyway, just naturally. But it's like, how much does that sort of perpetuate out? Really, like, I want to make it to the point where I want to get like a year of salary of what I'm on right now. That's the goal. So I have to build up enough wish lists, which is it'll probably be about 100,000 wish list, like, just before release, which sounds like a lot, but over time, like, if I've got like another year and a half of development and I like punch out with a demo and it gets announced somewhere like with some weight, then it might actually get to that, which would be great. Like, that would be the ultimate goal. But that is a long-winded way of me saying no, I don't have a release date yet. But that's the deal. That's why I've not really talked about it yet, because I'm still cultivating my people, quote unquote, like, to sort of understand that, so before I can say like how much time and effort do I want to put into this. Because after the demo's out, like, if people are just like, I'm out, and like 95% of my fan base just leaves, then I'm like, okay, maybe I won't put as much time and resources into this. Maybe I'll just like get through it so it's like finishable and I'm not wasting time and energy on it. Versus if it explodes and I'm like, okay, I need to like put all my energy into this. I need to understand these things, and it's kind of hard to give a release date when those sort of variables are happening. But there it is, I guess.
Very long.
I apologize.
To a simple question.
Yeah, it's complicated though, man. It's not. It's not a black or white thing. It's really grey, and I want to give the reasons why I'm not giving an answer. I don't want to just be like, no, I don't know yet, because I have a pretty good idea, like, based on the trajectory that it's currently on, where it's going to land. But I'm not going to announce it right now, because it's like anything could happen. Yeah.
It's one of those things. We don't know what's going to be happening in this year, like with our, lives. Lots of things can happen.
I want to pick your brains on some of the stuff you were saying about audience and getting those wish lists and stuff up. Obviously, April, if I I will have the demo done. I'm pretty confident of that. So I go to this show and people are playing this demo, and then where am I sending them from there? Am I? Yeah,
it's priority. I'm not even. I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one, Sam. The whole point of exposure, and it's something that grinds my gears when this happens. But you get people online that get like a lot of exposure to something, and then they don't funnel them anywhere. They're just like, yeah, look at me, and then they get all the likes and all the retweets, but that's it. And they're like, they're super hyped and really like sort of kicking off the dopamine of getting sort of recognized.
But a year later, when your game's out, those people have forgotten you.
So you need to filter them people into something. So it's really important. Like, if you have got a media hit like the April event, right? You need to funnel them in somewhere. You need to be like, yeah, if you like the game,
them to wish list.
Here's some postcards with a QR code on it, so people can like just go straight to Steam and just hit that button.
I was thinking exactly that, like A5 flyers or business cards or something along those lines with a QR code on. But my question was, do I set up a Steam page and send them there? Do I send them to like a Kickstarter campaign and try and launch that at the same time? Or do I, do something else entirely with that QR code? And it sounds like set up the Steam page, send them to the Steam page.
Yeah, I mean, Kickstarter's a hard
Steam page is the priority
as well, like to figure out overnight, right? Like, it's going to take you months to sort of figure that out, because
it takes you months to get a campaign together and film videos and edit them and
really you should
launch
be
Windows and other stuff. And yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So you need your demo done, and you need your Steam page, because then everything that then so once you've got that, you can start funneling people, and then off the back of that, if you do the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter might not work, but it might get some eyes on the Steam page, and so it's not been a waste of time. Whereas if you do the Kickstarter at the same time, that's a lot of work that's would mean time away from making the game.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is to just set up a Patreon page for it, right? And then you don't really have to think about a campaign. It's very passive. But yeah. I mean, I know you've had Patreon pages before, Sam, so I know you've been through that rigmarole, and like starting a new one might be, I don't know.
Yeah, for artwork, comics, various other endeavors, I've had Kickstarters, Patreons, and others. Ko-fi, coffee. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. But,
yeah, we've got one for this podcast, but no one's ever done it. We haven't plugged it.
That's right. Yeah.
No one has ever bought a coffee for the coffee kid. That is criminal.
It's pretty sad. Right? It's pretty sad.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Do all the things.
Go to coffee and support the podcast, I guess.
Yeah. Well, No, I mean, we really don't mind. But I mean, when it comes to that, Sam, you just need to funnel them into something, anything. Like as long as they can find it and wish list it in a way where you can get on like a mailing list. Not really a mailing list, like mailing lists are like they're archaic. Like I don't think the average person really listens to them anymore. But you do want to get into like something like a Steam wish list, because that is an active mailing list is in like the platform that they're constantly using. So it's important that you get people on board there. At least a Steam wish list. That is the bottom level of it. Like, and beyond that, you can add things like maybe a Patreon page, maybe a Kickstarter page if you've got the assets for it. But
I think I'm going to start with. I mean, I've said all along, I don't want to focus too much on the money side of it. I don't want to see it as a main income or anything. That's what I've got a job. I'm happy with my job. That's fine.
You could set up a Patreon then and just have it free and just have all your posts as like for people that are following. You don't have to subscribe, and then you just use that as like your platform that you post everything on. And you can even pay. You can do like the premium version where you can even post YouTube videos directly to your page, which is what I've just done as well. And it's just easy. It's just easy just to post the YouTube video to your Patreon page. So you've got and you've got 3 YouTube video channels, so you've done it that way, whereas I've done a Patreon page and be like, that's everything game related, and then everything else I might do on my YouTube channel I can have on my YouTube channel as well.
But by the sound of things,
wrong answer, I suppose
it sounds like pay up for the Steam page and get that live, and then the QR code on the flyers at the show will be to the Steam page. Get the wish lists in, and then look, ultimately, whether they buy it or not, I've not got anything hanging in the balance either way.
And even if you're not making money out of this, if it's just a hobby, that's still the best way to get all the people that are going to play the game in one place.
Yeah. I mean, the main focus, honestly, like for the wish list, isn't to get people in that pool to say, oh, these people are going to buy it, or 30 to 40% of these people are going to buy it from the wish list. That's not the goal. The goal is to get yourself in a different bucket for when the game does release on the Steam store. That's it. So if you're on the main page, or if you're like in a sub page somewhere, someone has to go to page 3 to be able to see you. All of that is dictated by how many wish lists you've got. That's it. It's really that simple. So like that's all you're trying to do is crawl up that list. That's it. So don't look at it as in terms of like sales or money or anything like that. Just look at it in terms of exposure. That's a much better way of looking at it, especially in your position, Sam. Like if you're not as money orientated in that respect, because this is a hobby and it's a side thing, and you're not like planning to do it full time yet, unless like you release the game and you make a load of money and you want to make the sequel or whatever, that's great. But if the main focus is you just having fun, then sort of treat it in that respect, in terms of it's just exposure. You're just collecting followers, for example, but within the Steam system. The difference is that no one else can see your followers. It's a closed off system. That's the best way to sort of look at it. So I don't know. But absolutely, like set up a Steam page and get that ready for the demo. Otherwise you're just going to be
that demo is going to be one hell of a usability test as well. It's just going to be like, they're in the wall. Why are they in the wall?
There will be bugs. All right, we got anything else before we wrap up? Are we good?
I think I'm good.
Sweet.
All good here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. If you are interested in our games, then we'll sort of run through that now. Chris, where can people find you and your wonderful game, Focus Find?
So you can wishlist Focus Find on Steam. If you search for Focus Find on Google, I think you should find it. Focus Find Steam. I have a Patreon page if you want it. Yeah, you can find it. You've just spoilt my flow, but fine. I have a Patreon page. So you can Google that and you can find Acrylic Pixel, which is kind of what I'm known as. Twitter, and I've got a YouTube channel, and those are my main ones.
Very nice.
Well, who's next? Sam, where can we find you?
Sam, yeah.
Easiest place is at Webster's Game Dev on Twitter.
And search for the Steam page now.
Yeah.
Because most people that's going to view it, right, it will be in the future.
Yeah, it should be up by now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, totally.
What's the name of your game, Sam? I think that's the best thing to add, because if someone is watching
Oh,
this,
yes.
3 years in the future...
Crisis Island. The name of the game is Crisis Island.
Thank you. Okay. I was going to say, because the game's going to be out in 3 years, and someone watching this back, I'm going to watch all the videos in a row of these guys making video games. And then they're like, oh, what's the name of this game? I don't care.
They don't even plug their own games very well, do they?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, we're awful.
I am not a marketer. I will give you that.
That is fair. All right. You can find me on, again, Google me, I guess. Hillfort Games is the sort of the name that I develop under, but the game that I'm working on currently is called Long Gone. You can wishlist that on Steam. Please do. Like we were talking about, really helps the algorithm to be able to reach more people when the game is actually released. And hopefully, if you're watching this in the future, then it absolutely helped and all that sort of good stuff. So I appreciate it. And if you are watching this in the future, go and buy it, please, because I'm running out of money and I need to pay my mortgage, and the 7 kids that I've got are all biting on my heels. I don't have any kids yet, but I'm imagining a good future. That's for sure. Anyway,
7 kids is a good future, is it?
No, it's not. It sounds like a life sentence.
So go wishlist and buy all 3 games. That would help us all out.
Please
well.
do. Yeah, really, really appreciate it. But yeah, we'll be in regular order for this. So we'll be back next month to talk about where we've gotten up to, and the promises that we failed to keep, and hopefully the progress that we've made.
Speak for yourself.
Indeed,
Maybe we can talk about things next month.
Indeed, I am.
Yeah.
But until then, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ta-ta.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
Don't know why the finger guns came out at the end there.
I'm glad that they did. That's all I can say. I wasn't going to buy Crisis Island, but then he did the finger gun thing, so then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull the trigger. Pull the trigger! Sorry, I'm here all week.
Pull the trigger on Crisis Island!
That better be in the trailer. Good time.
We're done. I'm out. I'm done.
Alright, cool. Yeah, looks good though, man. Other than that, I haven't really got much to sort of discuss. Outside of this, we got another sort of 10 minutes here to go, before the hour's up. Is there anything that you guys want to talk through? Uh-oh. It was bound to happen.
Great.
Sweet.